Welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where today we've got 10 players who will have to shoulder a huge amount of responsibility for their club in 1920. 10. Paul Pogba. Following a summer in which talk of a move away from Old Trafford hit fever pitch, Paul Pogba is still wearing red and is going to have to exert his influence on the pitch more than ever before. The latest transfer window was a strange one for Manchester United. While the arrivals of Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire represented some of the most risk-free business the club has done in recent times, the loss of Ander Herrera and Romelu Lukaku have left gaping holes in the Red Devils' midfield and attack. This essentially means that unless Scott McTominay and Marcus Rashford become world beaters overnight, Pogba will have to produce even more on the attacking and defensive end. In 2018-19, the Frenchman played the most minutes of any United outfielder by quite some distance, and was also the club's top scorer and assist maker in the league. Now playing in a deeper role, Pogba's had an excellent start to what may well be his final season in England. At the time of recording, he's got 2 assists in 2 games and has won possession more times than anyone else in the division. He'll have to sustain that kind of form if United are going to get anywhere near the top 4. 9. Dusan Tadic. Another player who's had an explosive start to 1920. Dusan Tadic already has 3 goals and 2 assists in 3 Eredivisie games, as well as 2 strikes in Champions League qualification, picking up where he left off last campaign. The Serbian forward was magisterial on his return to the Netherlands, helping Ajax to a domestic double and a Champions League semi-final with 38 goals and 17 assists in all competitions. Not bad for a man who hit the back of the net just 23 times in 4 years at Southampton. Such is the bond between player and club now, that when the 30-year-old signed a new 4-year contract this summer, it included a deal to keep him on at the Amsterdam Arena thereafter as a coach. Taking over the captaincy from Juventus-bound Matthijs de Ligt, and with Frenkie de Jong's departure ridding the team of its heartbeat, Tadic will need to step up his game as a leader and sustain his ridiculous form as a goal-getter if De Jong are going to stave off the challenge of PSV and remain among Europe's elite. 8. Jonathan Bamba. After such an outstanding campaign in 2018-19, it's little surprise that Lille, one of Europe's quintessential selling clubs, went through a summer of transition. The departure of Nicolas Pepe was inevitable, but along with the sales of Rafael Leao, Thiago Mendes and Youssef Kone, manager Christophe Gauthier has essentially lost 4 first-team regulars going into the new campaign. As usual, the club have recruited smartly, with Timothy Weah coming in from PSG and 20-year-old Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen scoring a brace on his league debut. But nevertheless, we expect Jonathan Bamba to be relied on heavily throughout the campaign. At just 23, the Frenchman is the most senior figure in Gauthier's attack and was the only player aside from Pepe to hit double figures in the league last season. With Pepe and Leao accounting for around half of Lille's total goal output in the league in 2018-19, the side's forward line has a lot to make up for this term if they want to make a stay in the domestic top 3 and put in a respectable Champions League performance. While chief creator Jonathan Ikone adapts to playing in a new role on the right, Bamba needs to hit the ground running on the left. 7. Kai Havertz. One of Germany's most precocious talents of recent years, Kai Havertz exploded last season, hitting 17 goals and 3 assists in just 34 league appearances, working out to a goal contribution every 145 minutes. This tremendous output helped De Vrij to a first top 4 finish in 3 years. Europe's highest scoring teenager in 2018-19, behind only Kylian Mbappé, Havertz only turned 20 this summer, yet already looks like a world-class all-round attacker, able to thrive centrally and on the right, with a 90% pass accuracy to match his outstanding record in front of goal. And with the departure of Julian Brandt, the only other Leverkusen player to hit double figures for assists last term, Havertz may have to do even more work this time round. Saying that, Leverkusen did sign Karim Demirbay, who topped the charts for key passes last term, to help out in this regard. He got 9 assists for Nagelsmann's super-attacking Hoffenheim in 18-19. However, competition around the side has strengthened significantly, so Havertz may have to better his 1.1 key passes per 90 if Bosch's side are to retain their Champions League status. This is especially the case if Leon Bailey continues to shy away from the form which made him such a big hit 2 seasons ago. 6. Kylian Mbappé. With their rivals weakened, PSG can probably look ahead to another league and walkover in 1920. However, if last season was anything to go by, the triumph will largely be down to one man, Kylian Mbappé. The French wonder kid truly came of age in his second season at the Parc des Princes, hitting 33 goals in just 29 appearances with an expected goals and assists per 90 of 1.4. And although the club possesses other quality attackers, the only others to hit more than 3 in the league were Edinson Cavani, Angel Di Maria and Neymar. While Cavani and Di Maria aren't getting any younger, the Brazilian superstar could be on his way back to Spain. And even if he does stay, he has a woeful injury record in the French capital. Meanwhile, Les Parisiens have only made one attacking signing this summer, Pablo Sarabia, who is primarily a creator, with central midfield and defence the main areas of investment. Clearly, the PSG hierarchy have faith that Mbappé can once again bulldoze backlines on his own in Ligue 1. Whether his performances can take Tuchel's side to that fabled Champions League final is another matter entirely. 5. Teemu Pukki. Much to the horror of our very own Joseph Tomlinson, Teemu Pukki has started the 1920 campaign on fire. The Finnish striker joined Norwich last summer in the latest move of his nomadic career, which has seen him turn out for Sevilla, Celtic, where he was rubbish, and Brøndby, and he's arguably peaked at Carrow Road. Now 29, Pukki fired the Canaries to promotion in 18-19, notching up 29 goals and 9 assists in 43 championship appearances, working out to a goal contribution every 101 minutes. For context, the ever-relied upon Antoine Griezmann averaged 1 every 135 minutes for Atletico last term. Pukki's total accounted for over 40% of Norwich's output in 18-19 as they romped to the title on 94 points, scoring more open play goals than any other side. While that kind of points tally is the sign of a brilliantly functioning team playing under an excellent manager, there is no doubt that if the Norfolk club are to stay up, Pukki's goal-scoring prowess will play a massive role. After all, their 57 goals conceded in 18-19 suggests a side reliant on a big output up top. And after 4 goals in his first Prem appearances, the former Schalke man is already a household name. 4. Filip Kostic. Once likened to a young Iron Robin due to his blistering pace and dribbling ability, Filip Kostic also made his name in the Eredivisie with Groningen. And after decent but unremarkable spells with Stuttgart and Hamburg, the Serbian winger was loaned to Eintracht Frankfurt, where he's thrived since making his debut in 2018. As Luka Jovic and Sebastian Aller combined brilliantly up top, Kostic was the pair's main supply line, as he lay on 10 assists across the season, the 4th best total in the Bundesliga, and was involved in a total of 22 goals across the German top flight and Europa League. With the dynamic front pairing having gone their separate ways, he'll have to be even more effective in his wing-back role in 1920, as Hertha tries to find new ways of making the Frankfurt attack tick. Kostic will hope that the incoming Dejan Jovic, who like Jovic is a promising young striker from the Red Star Belgrade Academy, can produce the kind of form which earned his countrymen a move to Real Madrid. If not, the versatile Ante Rebic represents a significant downgrade in the centre-forward role, meaning Kostic will probably have to step up with his goal-scoring game too. Before we move on to the next section then, if you're not a member of the EFD squad, then hit that subscribe button as displayed on screen now and turn on notifications to never miss another top 10. On we go. 3. Jan Oblak. It's fair to say that João Felix has stolen the headlines at Atletico Madrid following an impressive pre-season and eye-catching La Liga debut against Getafe. However, Los Rojiblancos' most important player stands in between the sticks. Since first arriving in the Spanish capital back in 2014, Jan Oblak has proved time and time again over the past 5 seasons that he is one of, if not the best goalkeeper in Europe. But whereas before, the Slovenian stopper was part of the meanest defence on the continent, he's now got a totally new look back line in front of him. With Godin, Juanfran and Felipe Luis out, and Trippier, Savic and Lodi taking their places, Oblak will have to get used to a new rear guard. But if his form last season is anything to go by, when he was making 5.2 saves per goal conceded, we wouldn't be surprised to see the former Benfica man keep oppositions out by himself in 1920. 2. Florian Thauvin. Marseille ended a difficult 18-19 campaign with a rather disappointing summer. Manager Rudy Garcia left the club after almost 3 years in charge, and Andres Villas-Boas entered with the promise of imposing a radical new philosophy. Subsequently, the club made no significant signings after selling Ocampos to Sevilla and deciding not to renew the contract of Mario Balotelli, who scored 8 league goals after his short-term move from Nice. That leaves Dimitri Payet, who turns 33 this season, and Florian Thauvin as the club's chief forwards. And considering that Thauvin contributed to 24 goals in Ligue 1 last term, more than double what anyone else in the Lom squad managed, the French winger is going to have to carry an even bigger load in 1920. The campaign couldn't have gotten off to a worse start for Thauvin, who picked up an ankle injury in pre-season and is yet to return at the time of recording. Without him, Marseille picked up just 1 point from their first 2 league games, are yet to score, and have mustered just 4 shots on target. In short, he needs to return fast. 1. Robert Lewandowski. With Iron Robin hanging up his boots, Franck Ribéry headed for Italy, and Robert Lewandowski now 31, you'd think that Bayern Munich would have heavily invested in dynamic young forwards this summer. Instead, they spent big on the defence and struck loan deals for Ivan Perisic, who is now 30, and Felipe Coutinho, who is essentially a James Rodriguez replacement. So it looks like the injury to Leroy Sané, coupled with RB Leipzig's refusal to budge on their valuation of Timo Werner, means that Robert Lewandowski will have to shoulder the majority of the attacking burden once more. While Serge Gnabry impressed in his first season at the Allianz and Kingsley Coman is back to full fitness, the German champions are still without a half-decent backup to their Polish talisman, who has scored at least 40 goals in all competitions for the past 4 seasons. If the unthinkable does happen and the ever-present striker does get injured, it could be fatal for Niko Kovac's side, especially after Borussia Dortmund strengthened considerably in the summer following their 18-19 title challenge. So guys, that was our 10 talisman for the season, but who are yours? Should we make a part 2? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.